Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm just waiting for a few more people to join. I hope that you're doing well and you've had a great holiday season. And I just want to share that I hope that this webinar today helps you go from feeling frustrated to feeling a little bit more confident and having some great information that you can take away. So you will get a copy of this recording after it ends. It will come to your email. And there's also a question and answer period at the end, but you can also jump in the chat and ask any questions that you like. So feel free. And also in the chat, I have provided you with a workbook. So you can click the link to the workbook. It will take you to a Google Drive. And you can download it if you want, or you can use it for later. And also, I have a link to my website, which will take you to a resource section, and that will be resources that I'm sharing or talking about in today's webinar. So feel free to jump in that chat anytime. And let's get started. So tackling puppy house training and biting. So this is something that can be really challenging for people and sometimes frustrating. So what we would need, or what you could use for today's session, is a quiet space, hopefully, a notebook to take notes, or to write down a list of questions that you might have for the Q&A period at the end. So again, my goal today is to provide you with clear, evidence-based information and a helpful understanding of your puppy's behavior. So why is this important? Well, I can tell you from personal experience that understanding my puppy's behavior and understanding that there are these real, growth periods where, things are really challenging, that can help you understand what is going on with your puppy, and also let you know that you will get through it as we do. I know sometimes it feels like it's going to go on forever, but it does end. So I hope to help you progress from feeling frustrated to feeling confident and positive. And remember that your relationship with your puppy is the most important thing. So this is a reminder to download your workbook and follow along or write notes. And your workbook also has some helpful information and some great links in it as well. So let's start by understanding normal puppy development and behavior. So one of the key things to remember about puppy biting is that this is a natural and normal thing. We won't be able to stop this behavior. So what we want to do is try to understand it, deal with it, and work with our puppy to get through it and out the other side. So during this period of time, so 3 months to 6 months, our puppies are teething, and so they're losing their teeth and their gums are sore. They're, feeling like they need to relieve that soreness, and they will often bite. So again, because they're teething, they do bite for exploration. They don't have hands, so they explore everything with their teeth and their mouths. They use it to engage in play with us and with other puppies. Sometimes they bite when they're overstimulated or stressed. So that's something to keep in mind. So I have the puppy teeth method that I would love to share with you for the first time today. So teeth: teach, encourage, exit, toys, and help. And let's dive a little bit more into what those are. So T stands for teach. So teach an alternative to your puppy biting you. Teach them that biting skin and clothing is a no-no. And we do this by redirecting our puppy to other activities. So we want to encourage and reward calm behavior. So that's what the E stands for. We want to praise gentle behavior, and we want to encourage good, appropriate play. The other E stands for exit. Exit the playtime and leave the area for a few minutes. End rough, bitey play and put them in their little playpen for some calming time if you find that they're too rambunctious. So when I say exit the playtime, what that could look like is either you leave the room for a few minutes and then go back and try playing with your puppy again. Or you can put them in their playpen or their safe area just to give them a few minutes of a timeout. And what they'll start to realize and understand is that this really bitey behavior ends the playtime. It ends their fun. And they do catch on and think, oh my gosh, every time I do this, my fun ends. The T stands for toys. Use lots of different types of toys to redirect their biting. And I'm going to show you some great options at the end. And the other thing that you can use is a training session. So anything that your puppy knows, if they know sit, if they know a hand target or a touch, just get them to do that. And what that can do is kind of snap them out of that really bitey moment and get their brain thinking about something else. The H is for help. Help your puppy by providing appropriate levels of mental enrichment, help by ensuring that they have enough physical exercise, and help them by ensuring that they're not bored and they actually need more stimulation, or ensure that they're not overstimulated or stressed, as that can really contribute to biting. So what is bite inhibition? Bite inhibition is the pressure at which our puppies bite with. So when they're small, they have really sharp teeth, which, they don't have to use any pressure at all, and they can tear our skin and cause us to bleed. But when they get older, though, that jaw strength is pretty serious business. So what puppies need to learn when they're little like this is the inhibition, so the pressure at which they bite with. And they typically learn this from let's watch that again. It's so cute. So they play with each other, and if they bite each other too hard, the play usually stops and the other puppy sometimes leaves the play, which is similar to what we're teaching them when we leave the play. So we do want them to learn this. It's very important at this age. So another thing to really keep in mind here is puppies and children should always be supervised. So here's an example of somebody who's not supervising their child and their puppy. And as you can see, these puppies just continue to get more and more rambunctious. And it can lead to a lot of crying. And we want to always make sure that there's an adult supervising. So just a few things to remember. These are just a list, and I think it's included in your workbook. So always have all members of the family being consistent. And what that means is ensure that some members aren't letting the puppy bite and other members are not, because it's just sending a mixed signal. So remember, what gets rewarded gets repeated. Now, this is true for all behavior with our puppy, whether it's biting or other things. So this is why I use positive reinforcement, rewards-based training, and you'll find it is extremely valuable. So also remember that biting is a normal part of puppy development. And again, unfortunately, we can't really stop it, but we can just work through it and also help our puppies learn what they can bite. So the puppy biting that I'm really talking about today is just the normal, fun, bitey, exploration type biting. But if you ever notice a puppy who is hiding, they have a tucked tail, they're potentially growling, that could be fear. So if you're ever not sure, always reach out to a positive reinforcement trainer in your area. So, and remember that pups are more active in the morning and in the evening. They're crepuscular. So you're going to find that you're going to have morning and evening zoomies and bites. Those are the times when you're going to have to be prepared, have lots of toys around. I think you can never have too many toys, and make sure that you have toys in all the different areas of your home where your puppy might be so that you can quickly grab them and redirect them. So don't have them off in a corner in a toy box, that have them handy up on the back of your couch, on your table, wherever it is that you're going to be engaging with your puppy. Have them there so you can just quickly grab them. Always ensure that you're providing high quality toys. Nothing from the dollar store, as those can have little buttons and things that can fall off and potentially be a choking hazard or an obstruction. Another question that I get asked, and something to remember and think about, is a lot of people say, are we supposed to yelp when our puppy bites us? Well, for some puppies that works. For other puppies, it actually makes them more stimulated and then they bite more. And for some, it scares them. And we don't want to be a source of fear or a source of something that scares our puppy. So I always recommend, I mean, you could try it, but if you notice that it's overstimulating for your puppy, then don't use that as a tactic. So here are some examples. And this cute little guy is my Cooper when he was a little baby. And he's in a playpen there, and he's got a pee pad in there and a bunch of toys. And that was a great setup for him. I used to take him to my office. So that was a lot of fun. And this playpen here on the screen, the white one, I like it because it has the vertical bars. So some puppies will actually, if there are horizontal bars, they are able to climb out. So it's something to really consider, especially if you're leaving your puppy alone and going out. Some people do have to put a top over it just to ensure that their puppies can't climb out. So if you see these vertical or horizontal bars here, some puppies do, they're pretty athletic and can climb out. So definitely something to be mindful of. Another idea for a playpen area is having your playpen attached to the crate, so they can have their crate and where they sleep, and then they come out and have their little area where they have their toys and a potty pad or something like that. All right, so here are some great ideas for toys and chews. So I think it's really important to have something like a bully stick or the esophagus sticks. The esophagus sticks are a little bit softer, but either one are fine for your puppy, but do always make sure that they're being supervised. So these are long-lasting chews. They'll last days, if not weeks. So this is something that you can give your puppy if you need to put them into their playpen while they're having a really bitey moment. It helps them learn how to settle and sort of self-soothe, if you will. And I always recommend having lots of toys like this that are really long so that you can have a lot of space between your puppy's teeth and your hand. So you can really engage your puppy with toys like this, and make your toys really animated so that your puppy is, you know, encouraged to play with the toy instead of grabbing at your hand. So, and also, as I was saying a little bit earlier, ensuring that you're buying really good quality toys that are designed for dogs and puppies. And that, so there's some really great things that you can get that are for, you know, power chewers, where they really design them really strong material and stitching. And some of them don't even have stuffing inside of them, but you know, again, they're serving as that long space that you need between the teeth and skin. And I love things like this to help engage your puppy and give them really fun, exciting things to do. So a lot of trainers will say, don't feed your puppy out of a bowl. Use a puzzle toy, a Kong that you can actually stuff their food inside of it, or like this little toy puzzle game where you can put their food underneath those little bones, and they have to figure out how to get it out. So that really serves as enrichment, and it helps them to, really give them something to do, and, resolves boredom and provides you with some time that, you can put them in their little playpen and you don't feel bad. Because oftentimes we feel a little bit guilty if they start crying or whining. So it is really good for them to have something fun to do. All right, so if you need a moment right now, I thought maybe this would be a great time just to write down some ideas, or perhaps any changes that you're thinking about. Maybe take a minute to write down a few action items or anything that you have learned that you'd like to take away and implement. So yeah, just take a moment, jot some things down, and then we'll talk about house training or potty training. Oh, but before we do that, I almost forgot my little poll. All right, hopefully you can see this. So what strategies have you tried for reducing biting or nipping with your puppy, or a puppy that you may have had in the past? Hopefully you can all see this poll. So yes, if you haven't tried anything yet, that is probably because you have a new puppy or your first time puppy owner, and that's great. So I hope that you can try some of these strategies and have some tools and tricks to take away from today's session. So I love acronyms, as you can tell. I just find for me that they're helpful to remember the various things that we have to learn. We're learning so much in our lives all the time. So the acronym POTTY stands for prepare, observe, take action, teach, and yes. And yes is actually a marker word that I use for my training as a bridging stimulus. So some people use a clicker and some people use a marker word. So I use yes when my dog or my puppy does what we've asked them to do. As soon as they do the thing that we've asked them, we say yes, and then we give them a reward. And they start to learn that yes is followed by a reinforcement, and it becomes very meaningful to them. So let's just go through this a little bit further here. So P, prepare a routine and a potty spot. So our dogs and puppies really thrive in routines, and they do much better, as do we, when we have a really predictable routine. And ensure that you set up a really clear potty spot in your home for your dog to, or your puppy to, help them be really successful with the potty training. So I recently had someone ask me, well, should I have, potty pads in my room, in my bathroom, in my kitchen? And I don't think we want to do that, because we want them to learn that there's one place where they go. It can be inside, it can be outside. Some people don't use potty pads at all. They just want their puppies or to learn to go straight outside. So whatever that looks like for you, depending on where you live, if you live in a high rise and running outside every hour is really difficult for you, then just set up one clear potty spot in your home. Observe. What that is watching carefully for signs that your puppy has to go potty. And those signs can look differently for everybody. So we do want to, yeah, You haven't got your puppy yet. Okay, great. I hope, and please jump in with any questions that you have. I just really want to ensure that all your questions get answered. Um, so we really want to watch carefully for signs that our puppies need to go to the bathroom. And these can look a little bit differently for each puppy. And it's important to keep them with you at all times when they're first learning about potty training. And of course, when you bring them home, you want to make sure that they're safe. So some of the signs are they can start circling, they can start going and sniffing around a little bit, or suddenly they'll be playing and then they'll stop playing. And sometimes they'll just sort of stare off into space, or they'll stop playing, and that's when I would just scoop them up and take them right to their potty spot. Yeah, so take action and go to their potty spot immediately. Don't wait, because you're better to get there than you are to not get there and risk having an accident. So teach using praise and treats immediately following after they've gone to the bathroom. So don't, some people will let their puppy outside and then they come inside, and that's when they give them their treat or their reinforcement or their praise. And what can happen is that the time between by the time they go potty to the time they get back in the home, other things could have happened in between, and they don't understand what they're being reinforced for. So they could have jumped up on you in between that time, and you're actually reinforcing them for jumping up instead of going potty. So we want to sort of be right there and immediately say, "Good pup," and give them a treat right away. And yes stands for mark and reward, which is using that marker word yes, and then giving them their treat. And when you're using treats with puppies, you only need like teeny tiny little pieces of treats so that you don't have to worry about them getting too many calories. And you can even use their kibble if they really love it. But if they don't really love it, then I do recommend using a single ingredient treat that they really love, because that's going to be meaningful and it's going to provide more of a reinforcement. And always celebrate your success. So sometimes this can feel like a long road. So I oftentimes tell people to keep track and so that you can actually see how far you've come and see your success. So let's go over some common questions. And these are sort of random, but just general questions that I see typically. Should I wake my puppy up in the night to go pee? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So you could try it and see how the rest of your night goes. But sometimes if we wake our puppy up, they can become, they think, oh, it's time to play. Great. And then they can have a really tough time going back to sleep. So what should I do when I take my puppy outside and he doesn't go, but then he goes when he comes back inside? This happens quite frequently. And sometimes it's because they have learned just to go in that one spot. Like maybe they've been going on a pee pad. So you take them outside and they don't generalize that. They don't think, oh, well, yes, this is where I'm supposed to go. So they come back inside and that's where they go. But if they don't have a pee pad readily available, they'll just pee on the floor because they don't have control over their bladders and their sphincters for sometimes up to 6 months, sometimes a little bit longer. So we always have to remember that if our puppy has a little accident, it is, due to various factors. They're not being bad. They're just either they didn't know where to go and they just have to go, so they go, or they were confused. So just keep being consistent. I think that's one of the most important things. Some people think that their puppies or their dogs look guilty, so they know they've done something wrong. Most scientists don't believe that dogs feel guilt. Typically what that is more of a fear or they're feeling uncomfortable, or maybe we come in and we go, oh, what did you do? And just that change in our voice, or perhaps the change in our face, our puppies can be like, oh my gosh, and they get nervous or scared. So typically it isn't a guilty look. They don't understand that they've done something wrong. They don't really know right from wrong. They just know what works for them. So just be patient. I know it's hard. Parvovirus is one of the most serious viruses that our puppies can get, and definitely talk to your vet about this. But this is part of what's included in their regular puppy vaccines. But it's also one of the reasons why veterinarians are concerned. They don't want us taking our dogs and puppies outside until probably they've had, their second set of vaccines. Always talk to your vet about all these things. But if you live in an area where there are lots of other dogs, like if you live in a high rise and the only place to go is, outside in a park where there's all kinds of other dogs that you don't know their vaccination status, I would for sure be really cautious. But if if you have your own home and your own yard, shouldn't be a problem at all, letting them outside. But definitely speak to your vet about your particular living situation and what is going to work best for you. I'm just going to touch back on this. Should I wake my puppy up in the night to pee? If you don't, and you just what will happen is they will start to fuss and whine, and that will be your sign to just, get them out of their sleeping place and scooch them over to their place where they're supposed to go potty. But yeah, you can try it, because some puppies will wake up and they'll go pee and they'll go right back to sleep. And then that will give you another 4 hours of wonderful, solid sleep. So for some people that works really well. But for others, if they wake their puppy up, oh my gosh, it can become really challenging. And then they're like sitting there for an hour while their puppy won't go back to sleep. So just a lot of these things are sort of a trial and error, because every puppy is unique and different. And, some of them are super sleepy, but others, they have all that energy and they're like, woohoo, we're up, let's go. So some important things to remember. Puppies who are 8 to 12 weeks old should go to their potty spot every hour for that first little while. I know it seems like a lot, and it is, but that will really help set them up for success. Always remember to reward them immediately, not after they come back inside, just as we touched on earlier, or after they've gone and done something else, and then you reward them, because then you're technically rewarding them for that other behavior. So we want them to make that clear connection between, I just went to the bathroom and my mom or my parent was happy and I got rewarded for that behavior. And I like to teach my dogs and puppies a verbal cue when they go potty. So you can say it just as they start to go. Just say, go pee or go poo, whatever you want to say, whatever you're comfortable with saying outside. And then that way you can almost put it on cue when they're older. It's actually really neat. It works well. And always remember that having a routine is really key to success for you and for your puppy. And another thing that I think is really important, especially if there's more than one person in the home looking after the puppy, is to use a tracker. And I have provided you with a tracker in the resources. So if you go to the resources, it's going to go to a web page, and there will be numerous PDFs in there that you can select and download. But a tracker is going to help you realize and remember when your puppy has gone to the bathroom and how long of a time between that period has passed. And also after they eat, after they drink, after they wake up from a nap, after they've been sort of in a play session, and sometimes it jostles their little innards around and they often have to pee after that. So it is really important to track it so that you have a really good idea of what or when your puppy needs to go. And also, we can lose track of time really quickly. I know I do. So, 2 hours, 3 hours can go by, and I haven't even thought about, oh my gosh, maybe my puppy needs to go pee. So, and the other thing you could use is your phone. So, like, put a little timer on your phone to go off every hour, and take your puppy to their potty spot. Some other random things are puppies naturally don't like to potty where they sleep and eat. So this is really important. So that's why using a crate when you're potty training can be a really helpful thing. So when the puppy gets used to, like, this is the area where I sleep, then they naturally won't want to potty in there, and you can use the crate in between potty times. So it is a very helpful thing, and that's why people recommend using crates while you're potty training. Something to think about is that puppies prefer to go to the bathroom on porous or soft surfaces, including your carpet. So they're just sort of naturally attracted to that. So what I recommend too is if you have lots of mats, carpeting around your home that you can pick up, roll it up and bring it back out when your puppy's 7 or 8 months old. Let's see here. So I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but some of the signs that your puppy has to go are sniffing. So it's just kind of sniffing the ground, sniffing over in another area of the home, circling. Suddenly they'll stop their activity. So they'll be playing and they'll just randomly stop, or they'll stop and start staring off. Just grab them, scoop them up, take them to their potty spot, wherever that is, if it's a pad or outside. And that is also, keep the future in mind of where you want your dog to be going to the bathroom when they're older. So, because if they only ever learn to go on a pee pad or a potty pad in the home, can sometimes be where they'll go for the rest of their lives. I had an adolescent puppy in my class who they didn't take her outside, and she was a large breed dog, and they didn't take her outside to go pee. So they actually had to carry a pee pad with them everywhere they went because she wouldn't go on the grass outside. It was just not what she learned. So they sort of learned their preferred place to go. What do they call it? Like a substrate. They learned that in those first few months. So they had a challenging time. So they carried their pee pad with them everywhere they went. And you know what? That was just what they needed to do. So, and no judgment here, but if our puppy has an accident, it's really our fault. So it's because we either weren't watching them closely enough, we didn't see the signs. That's okay. I mean, they make mistakes. We're going to make mistakes. We're all learning together. So, but this is more just to remind us that it's not our puppy's fault. It's really our fault. Oh my gosh, they have the best things out there nowadays for house training. They have like real grass pads that you can have inside your home, which I think are fantastic. They have these great potty, it's like a gigantic litter box, really, but that's really great for male dogs who do start lifting their legs, and also, like, for them to hit that pee pad is pretty, that takes some skill. So I think we need to give them a bit of a break, I mean, but they've got some really great stuff out there. They've got these bark pads. They've got reusable potty pads, which I think are great. And then these ones here are, it's almost like a diaper where when they go on the pad, it turns it into a gel. And also they have stickies on the bottom so that you can actually stick it to your floor, which I think is brilliant. Anyway, yeah, we've come a long way from just, the one option that we used to have. So in the workbook, I actually put some links to all these different options, which I think are super fantastic. Okay. You probably already know this, but just a reminder that always ensure you're using an enzymatic cleaner. So don't use regular household cleaners to clean up any messes, any accidents. Some regular household cleaners have ammonia and different things like that that can actually attract your dog or your puppy back to that spot, and that's not what we want. So Nature's Miracle is probably the best known one, but there are others out there that are specifically designed. And then, of course, I had to put in a special quote so that we could be reminded that whoever said you can't buy happiness forgot about puppies. So that is truly how I feel. Let's see here. So question and answer time. I don't know if you have any questions. If you do, please feel to put them in the chat. You can also email me anytime. I'm just going to write my email in the chat box for you. hello@daisydogtraining.ca. You can email me with any questions anytime. I'd be happy to answer them for you. And yes, don't forget to download the workbook. It just has a lot of these reminders and things that we talked about today. And then the resources that you can click on. There's the tracker in there and just some other tip sheets and reminders that you can print out and keep around your home. Yes, I don't even think I introduced myself. I am Sandy Reichert. I am introducing myself at the end. I've been a dog trainer for coming up on 6 years. It's sort of a second career for me. I work as a human resources manager, but I love dogs and I especially love puppies. I have a special place in my heart for puppies because I really think that it is, if we can start them out on the right foot, it just goes a long, long way for their development and our relationship with them. So I have one more poll for you. Let's see here. One more quick poll. All right, hopefully you're seeing it now. Now, for those of you who haven't got your puppy yet, you won't be able to answer this, but how is your puppy's potty training progressing? So are you having daily accidents, a few a week, almost no accidents, or fully potty trained? So one thing to think about is that all puppies are different. So some of them amazingly quick. They're in a few weeks, they're good, they're golden, but they will still have accidents. And oftentimes that is simply because their little bladders and sphincters aren't fully developed yet, or they just forget, or they're playing and they forget. I think little kids are like that too, or they'll be playing and you're like, do you have to go to the bathroom? And they're like, no. And then they pee their pants. So it's kind of the same thing if you've ever been with children or have children. And there we go. So yes. And you know what? And then some puppies take longer, and that is okay. That's just who they are. And they just need a little bit more time. So yeah, if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat. So I have, I guess you could say, a multi-certified dog trainer. So I have a few different certifications, and including I took a puppy start rate program with the Karen Pryor Academy, and that was one of my favorite things I've done so far. So yeah, and again, please feel free to reach out. Don't forget to download your resources, and you will get a copy of this in your inbox If there's anything you missed or anything that you didn't get, please feel free to email me. So I really hope this was helpful, and I hope it provided you with some tips, tricks, and just sort of normalizing what puppy biting and potty training is all about. It is normal. It can be frustrating, but hang in there. Reach out for support if you need to, or if you aren't sure what is normal, or, where do I find the downloads? If you scroll back up to the top of this chat, the downloads are there. You just click the links and it'll take you right to the resources. Let me just see if I can copy this and put it in here again. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to copy this one. Okay, let me just do this and put it in here. There we go. So this will take you to my website page, which has all of the resources there, including the little workbook, the potty tracker, and anything else you might need. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you spending your morning with me, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks so much. Bye now.